Southside.
Now, it has been a while since we've spoken about Raising Kanan Season 3, and I was hoping the next Power Universe video that I was going to do was on Force, but it does seem like we're just going to have to wait just a bit longer for the teaser or an announcement on Force Season 2. But we do have some news for Raising Kanan Season 3, and that is Wendell Pierce and Erica Woods will be joining the cast for Power Book 3 Season 3. Now, the official Deadline article gives us the exclusive, which says Wendell Pierce, who played Detective Morlan in The Wire, which I'm sure we're all familiar with, along with Erica Woods, have joined Season 3's cast of Star's Power Book 3 Raising Kanan in recurring roles. Pierce will play Ishmael Snaps Henry, a living legend on the streets, former bank robber and OG dealer who now acts as a mentor and financier upper for up-and-comers like Kanan, along with his partner and wife, the love of his life, Stephanie Pop Henry. Now, I do have to start by saying adding Wendell Pierce to an already stellar lineup that Raising Kanan have in terms of the cast is a huge bonus. I'm sure many of us know him from playing Detective Morlan on The Wire, and I also associate Pierce through his role as Robert Zane in Suits. But how does he impact Season 3 of Raising Kanan? Now, just as a quick brief overview, at the end of Season 2, we saw two former rivals come together for the greater good against Sal Buscemi's men. Unique offered a helping hand to Rock to save her from near death, but there are a few questions around them working together, especially because he saw Detective Howard and Kanan coming in at the end, who found out about Rock's lies. So what does Unique think about Kanan being Howard's son, but more importantly, how does his brother being released change the dynamics?
Your brother would have never done shit like that.
Yeah, maybe not. You see, Ronnie's upstate for the rest of his natural life.
Ronnie Mathis was briefly mentioned in episode 1 of season 1, and so it was only a matter of time before we saw him appear, because we know how Power do. They always leave a few breadcrumbs, clues and Easter eggs. So there's Unique's brother, and the same goes for Kanan's cousin Eric, who said he wants to come to New York. Another is D-Wiz's brother, who we're still yet to see or even put a name to, so that's something else I wonder if they're gonna answer in season 3. With Marvin and Juke, we saw the death of Kenya, who actually played an indirect part in Marvin and Jukebox becoming a lot more closer than they've ever been. But she was caught in the crossfire between the Italians and Rock, so we're yet to see the aftermath of her death. But nothing ever good comes out for Jukebox, although I do think she's going to have some happy moments in season 3 with Marvin, but eventually I'm sure we can all tell it's going to be ripped away, which really will put her on this path of being this cold-hearted character that we saw on Power. With Marvin himself, he had to do a lot of self-reflection in season 2. He had to take a step back from being angry and think about what he really wants going forward, and that was a relationship with Jukebox, which at the beginning seemed almost impossible after the events of season 1, but with Renee's help he made the impossible possible. Now, unfortunately for Renee, being in the wrong place at the wrong time meant that she was caught in the crossfire, and that was another factor that had a huge impact on Marvin. With Lulu, what can I say? Him and Rock delivered yet another epic scene at the end of season 2, where Rock made it clear he's going nowhere.
You ain't going nowhere because there ain't nowhere for you to go. I own you.
So he's trapped in this life, and the only way out for him, in my opinion, is death, jail, or they get rid of Rock, which will give him some hope of having a life he's only been able to live in drips and drabs, a record label which is now part owned by Rock. So that's a brief overview of some of the key players, and so how do the events of season 2 bring Snaps into the picture? Now, we all know at some stage Rock and Kanan will butt heads. Tension was building all season long, and Kanan didn't just learn the street game from Rock and his uncles. There was of course the obvious Breeze, who is teased to come in season 3, but I think they're going to keep that under wraps until it's the right moment. Breeze was the main key player who Kanan learned from, and then so did Ghost and then Tommy, but it doesn't mean there weren't others, and Snaps will definitely play a key role. An OG bank robber who seems like he's taken a step back, and rather mentors the likes of Kanan rather than carry out licks himself. But how he comes in and how he introduces himself is something I'm intrigued to see. Does he know Rock? Does Rock know him? Does Unique, Howard, Ronnie Mathis or anybody else know who Snaps is? Considering he's an OG dealer and said to be a living legend on the street, he has to be well known by at least someone, and Kanan will end up being mentored by Snaps, probably through an acquaintance or him being up to no good on the streets. Now, what Rock thinks about Snaps mentoring Kanan is yet to be seen, because she's someone who likes to be in control over the Thomases, especially Kanan, but we've seen this recently in Power Book 2 Go Season 3. As Diana, Drew and Kanan become older and a lot more wiser, they started to think for themselves and make their own decisions, and we've seen glimpses of Kanan doing the same. His evolution is going to be a lot more slower, but the way they're taking their time in developing his character is just right, because we are seeing very similar traits to what we saw with Tariq St. Patrick in Power, and that's why Kanan looked at him and thought, I definitely see a lot of similarities when I was your age. So where Tariq had a few mentors along the way, and most recently RSJ in season 3, Snaps does seem like he's going to be the next one for Kanan, and I'm hoping after Snaps we're going to be introduced to Breeze by around the end of season 3 or going into season 4. But that's a brief overview of some Raising Kanan Season 3 news, so drop all your thoughts down below on Snaps and how do you see him playing a role in Kanan's development. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.